Level 1 Street Crews. The Enforcers. If organized crime had a B team, the Enforcers would be it, and they'd probably still show up late. Fancy Dan, Montana, and the Ox have been throwing punches and lassoing superheroes since The Amazing Spider-Man number 10 in 1964. They're not masterminds, they're muscle. The kind of guys who'd bring a rope to a fight with someone who can lift a car. Their gigs are simple. Enforce for the big man. Maybe take order from Kingpin's people and occasionally team up with Sandman when he's slumming it. I think their crime style is refreshingly old school. No alien tech, no underground labs, just brass knuckles and cowboy ropes. They sit at level 1 because their entire brand of villainy fits inside one New York City zip code. Their operations are small, their goals are smaller, and their plans usually end up when Spider-Man swings by. They don't have armies or empires, they have day jobs and mugging. They don't care about ideology, politics, or even profit margins beyond their next paycheck. If you take out one member, the group either folds or just replaces him with another guy who can throw a decent punch. On top of that, their defeats never shake the city's structure. They just make a fun brawl and a quick arrest. That's why sometimes I think of the Enforcers as the villain version of a garage band. Loud, local, and destined to stay underground. The Mutants. In Gotham, when teenagers get bored, they join the Mutants, a massive face-painted street gang that treats violence like a team sport. Debuting in The Dark Knight Returns #1 in 1986, these punks don't have a plan, just pure chaos. They rule through fear, attacking civilians, police, and basically anything that moves. Their leader talks big about taking over Gotham, but his idea of strategy is screaming and swinging a chainsaw. They're terrifying in the moment with all teeth, rage, and metal spikes, but really it's all noise, no system. The Mutants stay at level 1 because they're a flash mob, not an organization. They control streets, not states. Their power is in numbers and shock value, but they have zero infrastructure. No global network, no labs, no political ties, and maybe no girls. Once Batman steps back into the game, their whole reign of terror folds faster than Ben Askren. On top of that, even their rebranding into the Sons of Batman just makes them a vigilante fan club. They're dangerous, yes, but only if you happen to live in the wrong Gotham neighborhood. Level 2 Mercenary Syndicates, the Magia. If you ever wondered what would happen if the Mafia started hiring supervillains instead of hitmen, meet the Magia, Marvel's version of organized crime with a slightly fancier vocabulary. They first appeared in the Avengers #13 in 1965, and ever since, they've been the invisible hand behind countless business negotiations that end in explosions. The Magia isn't a gang with matching jackets, it's a criminal corporation before corporations got cool. They run rackets, buy politicians, and even subcontract muscle like Hammerhead when things get messy. It's crime with paperwork, which to me is somehow scarier than crime with guns. They sit at level 2 because they're too structured to be street trash and too short-sighted to be corporate sharks. Their roots are deep in families, hierarchy, decades of tradition, which means they don't vanish when one member gets arrested. On top of that, they know how to twist the system instead of just fighting it. But why aren't they level 3? Because the Magia doesn't innovate, they replicate. Their power stops where their territory does. They don't have R&D labs, stock portfolios, or offshore tech subsidiaries running secret doomsday projects. Their idea of expansion is opening another casino, not funding the next AI apocalypse. So while they're way above the average alley crew, they're still mobsters chasing cash, not corporations rewriting economies. The Falcone crime family. If Gotham had an official brand, it would be Corruption with Style, and Carmine Falcone is the CEO of that slogan. First appearing in Batman Year 1 in 1987, Falcone isn't some goon yelling threats from a dark alley. He's the man who owns the alley, the cops patrolling it, and probably the judge across the street. His empire runs on cash, favors, and the kind of silence money buys. When people say Gotham's broken, it's usually because Falcone handed them the hammer. He earns level 2 because his crime is organized, generational, and disturbingly functional. He's not a street-level thug. He's the reason street-level thugs exist in the first place. On top of that, his reach seeps into the city's foundations. courts, police stations, even election offices. You don't fight Falcone by throwing punches, you fight him by rewriting the system he already owns. So why isn't he level 3? Because his empire stops where the city of Gotham's limits do. He doesn't play the corporate game or disguise his crimes behind shell companies and tech divisions. His world is old school. Blood oaths, envelopes of cash, and family dinners that end with someone missing. Falcone runs the streets, not the stock exchange, which keeps him solidly at level 2. Level 3, corrupt conglomerates, Roxxon Energy Corporation. If evil had a corporate handbook, Roxxon probably wrote it and then charged you for the environmental cleanup. First showing up at Captain America number 180 in 1974, Roxxon is the face of Marvel's corporate villainy, a respectable energy conglomerate that treats human rights violations like line items in a budget. They fund shady R&D, run Black Ops divisions with mercs like Killer Shrike, and hide mutant experiments behind boring press releases about innovation. Their executives have turned corruption into an art form, burying scandals under legal paperwork while smiling for investors. Heroes fighting Roxxon don't punch goons, they fight lawsuits. Roxxon belongs at level 3, because it's too big to be protected and to be lumped in with mob families. It doesn't need muscle on the streets where it owns half the city's politicians and a few world patents. Its power comes from influence, not bullets. They do mergers, lobbying, fake charity events, and the occasional secret lab under an oil platform. But what I think keeps it from level 4 is motive. Roxxon isn't trying to conquer the world or start revolutions, it just wants more zeros on its quarterly report. On top of that, its damage is collateral, not ideological. It's greed, not global domination. Still, when your business plan includes genetic testing without consent, you're doing capitalism wrong. LexCorp. If Roxxon is corporate evil at its greediest, LexCorp is evil at its smartest. A billion-dollar company run by a man whose only real competitor is Superman. Under Lex Luthor's smug command, LexCorp has its hands in everything, from military tech to urban redevelopment. Since its post-crisis revamp in the 1980s, the company's public image screams philanthropy, but behind the scenes, it's a labyrinth of shell companies, bribed senators, and ethically flexible scientists. When Metropolis shines, it's usually from a LexCorp power grid or LexCorp explosion. LexCorp sits at level 3 because its power is systemic. Lex doesn't rob banks, he owns them. On top of that, his reach goes beyond Gotham's street mafias. It's political control, media spin, R&D that blurs into weaponization. Arresting one executive won't stop it. The company is built like a hydra, except the heads all have MBAs. But it stays out of level 4 because LexCorp isn't a terrorist network. It's a business empire that runs lives legally. Lex doesn't want chaos, he wants control, prestige, and a quarterly bonus that makes Bruce Wayne sweat, if that's even possible. His evil is clean, patent protected, and usually tax deductible. That's why I think LexCorp is proof you don't need a bomb to wreck a city, a contract will do just fine. Level 4 Global Terrorists, Hydra. If Paranoia had a mascot, it would be Hydra, the global terror Hydra that keeps proving cutting off one head only means 2 more start running for office. First slithering into comics in Strange Tales number 135 in 1965, Hydra began as a fascist offshoot that evolved into a modern terror syndicate with ideology, infrastructure, and an endless supply of faceless soldiers yelling, "Hail Hydra!" They operate like an international virus, with secret cells, sleeper agents, and covert labs hiding inside government programs and corporate boards. Their entire mission is chaos with purpose. Tear down nations, replace leaders, and reshape the world under their poisonous green banner. Hydra lands squarely at level 4 because its methods are pure global terror. They don't buy influence, they infiltrate it. On top of that, their network doesn't chase profit or stock options, it seeks ideological control, using bombs and bioweapons instead of press releases. They don't sell corruption, they believe in it. What I think keeps them at level 5, though, is that Hydra's victories never stick. They can take over a country like in Secret Empire, but they crumble under the weight of their own extremism or, a well-timed shield throw by Captain America. They're too fractured to become a permanent world government, too fanatical to play the long political game. Hydra's motto is, cut one head off, two more shall take its place, which sounds cool until you realize they're the reason HR keeps running out of forms. League of Assassins. If history had a delete button, the League of Assassins would be the ones pressing it. This ancient organization exists to fix civilization the hard way, which is through murder, manipulation, and selective apocalypse. Guided by Ra's al Ghul's grim logic, the League trains killers so skilled they could change a regime with one well-placed dagger. Their bases are hidden temples and Lazarus Pit compounds, their reach spans centuries, and their loyalty belongs to an ideology older than most governments. Every strike they make isn't random violence, it's strategy, meant to topple leaders, rewrite history, and reset humanity. They belong at level 4 because their actions echo globally. The League doesn't buy governments, it replaces them. On top of that, their tactics of assassinations, eco-terror, political engineering are all designed to push civilization forward towards correction through death. But they stop short of level 5 because they don't govern the world they destroy. Ross may dream of cleansing Earth, but he never sticks around to write a tax code. The League isn't a ruling power. It's a surgical weapon, terrifying, precise, and often self-destructive. Their war isn't for money or territory, but for balance to twist by arrogance. In short, they're global terrorists with a moral superiority complex. Level 5 Supervillain Cabals, the Cabal. When Norman Osborn decided to run the world, he didn't start a war. He scheduled a meeting. The Cabal, born out of Marvel's Dark Reign, is what happens when the worst people on Earth finally agree on something: power. Picture this table: Dr. Doom plotting policy, Loki sipping smugness, Namor pretending he's above it all, Emma Frost calculating 3 moves ahead, and the Hood calling in magical favors. Under Osborn's leadership, they didn't just attack heroes, they replaced them, using Hammer, which is like their version of S.H.I.E.L.D., plus media control and political authority to rebuild Earth's power structure under villain management. They belong at level 5 because this is world domination with paperwork and public funding. The Cabal doesn't blow up government, it runs them. They rewrite laws, control superhero registration, and redirect national resources into their own hands. On top of that, their rule isn't a quick terror campaign. It's systemic control masked as legitimate governance. But they stay below level 6 because their game board ends at Earth's atmosphere. They don't command fleets or shape galaxies, they manipulate economies and elections. The Cabal's grand achievement is proving villains don't need to conquer the world when they could just become the government. After all, every evil plan starts to sound reasonable when it's discussed in a boardroom. Secret Society of Supervillains. When the world's worst criminals realize fighting Superman solo isn't working, they form a club. The Secret Society of Supervillains, debuted in Secret Society of Supervillains #1 in 1976, has been DC's go-to evil United Nations ever since. Across eras, from the classic Bronze Age to Villains United and Infinite, the Society turns chaos into organization. It recruits heavy hitters, assigns missions, and even builds a chain of command. Their business model? World domination by committee. Lex Luthor handles strategy, Deathstroke handles muscle, and someone always ends up being betraying everyone else. But for a while, they made global villainy terrifyingly efficient. They earn level 5 status because their ambitions are administrative, not anarchic. On top of that, they run world-scale campaigns with political blackmail, superhuman armies, targeted propaganda, all aimed at taking control of nations, not just destabilizing them. They want to replace governments, not simply ruin them. What keeps them from level 6 is their scope. The Society's war stays grounded on Earth. They might not hold the planet hostage, but they don't field star fleets or manage galactic empires. Their strength is in coordination, not colonization. Still, when a group of villains manages to treat world conquest like a project plan, you know humanity's doomed. Level 6, Cosmic Empires, the Annihilation Wave. When a nihilist decides it's feeding time, entire galaxies stop sleeping. The Annihilation Wave, unleashed from the negative zone in 2006's Annihilation event, isn't a fleet, it's a living storm. Billions of insectoid soldiers, hive ships, and world-consuming beasts surge through space, devouring planets like Chinese takeout. Every campaign looks the same. Total invasion, no diplomacy, and zero mercy. In the Annihilation event, Annihilus sends the Horde crashing into the positive universe, burning through star systems faster than empires can send distress calls. Heroes like Nova and the Silver Surfer stop fighting villains and start fighting for the concept of galaxy itself. The wave scale forces cosmic alliances, refugee armadas, and desperate last stands that make Earth's wars look like bar fights. The wave earns its level 6 badge because it's an organized interstellar army that treats planets like stepping stones. On top of that, its logistics rival any empire, with coordinated fleets, supply chains, and tactical invasions on a galactic scale. It's empire building through annihilation, powered by the hunger of a single tyrant with infinite cannon fodder. But it stays below level 7 because its destruction, however massive, still plays by cosmic physics. Annihilus wants control of this universe, not all universes. No time travel, no multiversal rewriting, just pure industrialized extinction. If bureaucracy's hell, the Annihilation Wave is HR with spaceships. Apocalypse. Apocalypse doesn't conquer for glory, he conquers because tyranny is its economy. From New Gods number 1, Darkseid's empire runs like a nightmare factory. An entire planet turned into a furnace of soldiers, slaves, and endless war machines. Everything burns, everything obeys. Boom tubes leak the planet to every corner of the cosmos, sending parademons and warlords to grind worlds into submission. Darkseid's army doesn't stop at planetary borders. It invades realities through sheer logistics, with fleets, cloning pits, and unending production lines. He doesn't just want territory, he wants the anti-life equation, which is the key to enslaving thought itself. This is pure level 6 energy, a full-scale interplanetary state that exports dominion like a business model. Apocalypse isn't a shadow cabal running politics, it's an industrial empire that can flatten civilizations overnight. What I think is worse is that Darkseid's reach is strategic, not chaotic. He plans, invades, occupies, and governs through fear and cosmic power. Still, he sits below level 7 because his empire stays rooted in a single multiverse's physical dimension. His goal is universal control, not total reality rewriting. Apocalypse is about war, not metaphysics. But yeah, when Darkseid wages peacefully, it's only because there's nobody left to disobey him. Level 7 Multiversal Conclaves, the Council of Kings. Some conquerors want to rule the world, Kang wants to rule all of them. The Council of Kings, first seen in the Avengers number 267 in 1986, is what happens when one megalomaniac time traveler realizes his own very best business partner across infinity. Each member is a version of Kang from a different timeline, and together they form a literal government of conquerors. They hold meetings in the cracks of time, trading entire histories like real estate. One Kang owns a timeline where the Avengers never existed, another runs a future empire, and they negotiate who gets which era like mob bosses splitting up the calendar. Their operations aren't about armies or planets, they manage timelines. They rewrite history and manipulate events across universes so that every version of reality eventually kneels to, well, Kang. This is why the Council sits above all other levels. They don't invade galaxies, they rewrite them. They control cause and effect itself, deciding which paths are allowed to exist. No planetary army or cosmic empire can fight an enemy that changes its origin story mid-battle. On top of that, their diplomacy is multiversal, with treaties written in paradoxes and signed by infinite versions of the same egomaniac. It's bureaucracy at the end of time. If most villains want to rule the board, Kang built the rulebook, the table, and the chess pieces. He even argues with himself about it. The Dark Multiverse. If nightmares could file taxes, the Dark Multiverse would be the IRS. Born from the twisted underside of reality, this place manufactures failed universes, entire worlds built for fear, then weaponized for war. Guided by Barbados, a god-level entity, and his top lieutenant, the Batman Who Laughs, the Dark Multiverse industrializes despair. Its workers are evil Batman, and its exports are apocalypse scenarios. During 2017's Dark Knight's Metal, they didn't just invade Earth, they tried to overwrite it. Using nth metal, dark energy, and corrupted cosmic forges, they ripped open portals between universes and poured in legions of nightmare versions of DC heroes, each one tailored to destroy its brighter twin. What makes this level 7 is scope. They're not limited to planets, galaxies, or even one reality. The dark multiverse builds new ones that feel the toxic reflections of hope that spread like a virus across creation. Their invasions target the laws of existence themselves, turning dreams, fear, and cosmic structure into weapons. Even gods panic when the sky starts leaking broken universes. That's why when your army is made of alternate Batman and your factory floor is the bottom of creation, you've basically hit peak villain bureaucracy. Well, that's it for this one. If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and ring the bell so you never miss a drop. Craving more stories from comics, movies, and beyond? Check out this video right here. Cheers, and see you in the next one.